Stop judging men by what they do for you and start judging them by who they are. Yesterday I made a video about Wizardless and it completely blew up on all social media platforms, and a lot of you guys really loved it. A lot of women started to watch my videos and you really appreciated the male perspective. You girls asked me if I can make more videos to help you guys out, help you girls out, and I'm like, yeah, sure. There's this topic that I've been thinking about for a very long period of time, and today I want to really hone in and talk about this specific topic. Action. There's a lot of women online praising about action. A lot of women saying, yeah, I want a man to do this for me. I want a man to do that for me. I want a man to buy me flowers. Well, a man can still buy you flowers and be a serial killer. A man can do all of the things that you want him to do and still be a bad person. Because action does not define whether a man is a good or a bad person. Action, matter of fact, is very selfish. It's all about me, me, me. I'm special, I'm a princess, I deserve the best, without really looking at it from the male perspective. What does a man get back for it? I know a lot of women don't like to look at this situation. A lot of women like to live in a fantasy la la land where they're a princess, everything is easy, life is in their favor. But the reality is, just because a man is putting the time and effort and is putting the action that he wants or you want him to put in, does not mean that he's a good man. Because think about it. If you specifically tell a man, hey, I appreciate it if you would buy me flowers, and he ends up buying flowers, but he's only buying the flowers because you want him to buy the flowers. He's not buying the flowers because he wants to buy the flowers himself as well. These days, a lot of women get lured in and blindsided in the form of affection by transactional items. A lot of women think that if a guy is buying them something expensive, it means a lot. But as a woman, if you think this is my love language, as a woman, if you allow a man to quote unquote manipulate you by simply buying you something, now you've given him a blueprint to find a way to your heart, to find a way in your life, making him a part of you. If you're telling him, look, I want flowers, look, I want you to buy me this, I want you to buy me that, and he'll end up doing all of those things, does this really mean that he's doing it because he cares about you? Or is this selfish from his perspective? Is he just doing this because he wants you in his life, and therefore him knowing that, okay, cool, if I buy her flowers, if I buy her a Gucci bag, if I buy her X, Y, and Z, she'll be satisfied because clearly that's all she wants, and I'll be a happy man. And therefore, it's not about the action. It's more about the man's character. You need to look at it from the perspective of, is this man gonna be the same when he is with his friends? For example, when it comes to myself, obviously every single person is quite different when it comes to their family compared to their friends, compared to a woman, right? And you can't expect them to be 100% coherent. But a good way to find out is, say for example, if he's sitting with his boys and his boys are speaking about you, and it's the way he speaks about you with his boys, with his brothers, that's what shows you what kind of man he is. It's very easy to think that a man really likes you just because he's putting in time and effort. But time and effort does not mean much if it's not coherent, if it doesn't align with who he is as a person. It needs to match his character. And I see too many women thinking that, okay, look, just because a man is putting in the time and effort, I think I found a special man. This man is gonna be loyal. Action does not mean loyalty. Loyalty is something very different than action. To find out if a man is loyal, the best way to find out from my experience is just simply by finding out how he speaks about you when you're not listening. To find out how he thinks about you when you're not listening. And look, I'm not saying that's easy to find out whether a man is loyal or not. But the best way to find out is by how he speaks to his friends. Because for example, when it comes to my friend groups, when I see other guys speak about their women, you can very quickly find out who is loyal and who's not. Because it's simply the way they speak about their woman. If they're praising her, if they say, I don't want to even look at another woman, I only want to spend with her, time with her, I'm not even interested in another woman, you know that you'll be very safe. But on the other side, if a man is like, yeah, she's fine. She's alright. I'm not saying that this is the end of the world, but it means you need to be a little bit more careful. And too many people these days, even too many women online that are educating other women, are talking about action. Talking about, yeah, I want a provider man. I want a man that looks and takes care of me. I know a lot of provider types of men. A lot of these people are my business partners. A lot of these people have fuck you money that can spend on a woman any day, whenever they want. They can buy the nicest things for them. But they're not loyal because they are provider type of men. They are not loyal because they are giving the woman everything. They are loyal because of their character. They are loyal because when the woman is not around them, they still speak highly of her. And too many women these days have too much of a selfish perception. It's because of social media. Social media has made us think that we have way more options than we actually do. Social media has made us think that we deserve a lot more than we actually do. But if you look at a lot of men in the past, if you look at a lot of women in the past, they were a lot more grateful for what they had, and they were willing to fight for even the smallest things, whilst most people these days are not even willing to fight. And that shows to me that a lot of people have lost this part in their character. And that's why I always say go for a strong masculine man. But then some women will say, yeah, but a masculine man might still cheat. Not a masculine man that knows his priorities. Not a masculine man that is focused on the long term. I've got this Australian business partner, and he always tells me that I am always focused on the long term. And if a man is focused on the long term, he's not really interested in other women. He'll rather just find one woman that he can build with. He'll rather just find one woman that he can spend his time with. And therefore, don't just look at a man's action. Action that isn't aligned with someone's real intention is dangerous. You see this all of the time. Well, but I thought he was different. I thought he was special. Nobody's special. Nobody's different. We're all humans. We all make mistakes. But we just need to look at a person's real intention. We need to look at someone, how they act when no one is looking. Because the reality is, if a man has to earn your respect, the reality is if a man has to fight for your time, has to put in a lot of time and effort, needs to give you princess treatment, needs to do this, needs to do that, a lot of times they might not even enjoy it themselves. They're just doing it to please you. It might drain you. And if another woman will come around, a woman that does not drain them, a woman that says, I don't need all of this type of affection, that woman will become the peace in a man's life. Men are very simple creatures. We're just looking for a woman that respects us and a woman that brings us peace. The moment a woman does not bring us peace, we leave. A woman that does not respect us, we leave. And obviously, I'm speaking about huge masculine men. I'm not speaking about toxic guys. I'm not speaking about immature boys. A real man is a man that has his priorities straight. A real man is someone that is focused on him, is focused on his family, is focused on building himself up, is focused on building himself up for his future wife, for his future kids, for his future empire. That's what a real man is. A man that needs to provide, needs to protect just because you want him to provide and protect is not a real man. And a common problem that I see with girls that come from rich backgrounds is that they all think that they're princesses. They all think that they're special. They all say, yeah, well, my dad buys me flowers, but my dad does this for me. My dad does that for me. Well, that's your dad. Well, that's your dad. I've only seen you one time. You cannot expect this type of treatment from a man just because your dad has given you that type of treatment. So, because essentially what you're saying is, I'm not looking for a partner. I'm looking for someone that will replace my dad. Another problem for girls that tend to come from rich backgrounds is the parents tend to be very busy, and instead of giving real affection, they subsidize real affection with gifts. So now you think gifting is a form of affection, whilst it was just a substitution to fill the void. And too many women these days think that if a man has to buy you attention and affection with gifts, that he really cares about you. But the truth is, if a man has to subsidize his own character by using money, by using deceptive manipulation tricks, knowing that they will work on you, that means that he is hiding something, and most likely he does not have a strong character. The strongest men that I know don't even have to show they have money. And I know a lot of people got quite pissed yesterday that I was constantly speaking about, yeah, me. But the reality is, I don't really show how much money I have. I don't really show what kind of lifestyle I can provide, what kind of lifestyle I can live, because I'm content in me. I'm just focused on myself. I'm focused on building myself up. And in that regard, I might be a bit humble, but that's the type of character that a lot of women should be looking for. Also, remember when your mom and dad told you to not take sweet from an old stranger that's trying to lure you in his van? Isn't this the same concept where a man is trying to lure you into his life by buying you gifts, by buying you flowers, just because you like it? As a kid, kids like sweets, so it's very easy for them to be lured in by sweets by an old man and be taken in a van, right? And the same can be said about women. Women love flowers. So as a man, it's very easy to manipulate and lure a woman in by buying her flowers and bringing her closer to your life. And too many women fall victim to this. Just because he buys you flower does not mean he's a good person. Just because he buys you a gift does not mean that he really cares. Because real affection is built over the long term. Too many people want this fantasy type of lifestyle where they meet a person and they're instantly in love. Well, that's not long-term love. If you want to build something that lasts for a long period of time, it takes effort. It takes time. This concept applies to business, but it also applies to relationship. If you want something to be long-lasting, something to be fulfilling, you need to have a solid foundation. And therefore, don't only look at a man's action. Actions can be faked, but look at a man's real character. And to find out whether he has a real character takes time.